Hey, Talia here, and today on I Got Back Up, I'm joined by Jed Brecher. Undergoing heart surgery at only a few weeks old, Jed's life took a turn in his early 20s when his cardiologist told him his lifestyle was affecting his heart. And suddenly, Jed was forced to transform his life and everything he once knew. So, Jed, when you hear the term I Got Back Up, what do you think?
I think back to a call that I had with a cardiologist, and they told me that the heavy weight training that I was doing was fatal, and that I had to change the exercise routine I was doing and the lifestyle that I was living. And it's quite nice because I just had a call from a cardiologist an hour ago from the same department who said this is 5 years later that the change up of my lifestyle and of my exercise routine has meant that my heart health is as it would have been if I wouldn't have had it, and that I can live happily and healthily for a long time. So I'm very happy about that. I was born with congenital heart disease, which meant that my aortic and pulmonary valves were the wrong way around. And I've also felt a strong connection with my heart. I suppose heart is symbolic for love and passion and sensitivity. And I was born quite sensitive, and I've always felt a special relationship with my heart. And my mum is a psychotherapist, so I was brought up with "How are you feeling, darling?" And my dad is a martial artist, so I was brought up with the complete opposite in that regard, with lots of martial arts training. And physical health is something which I've always loved and prioritized. And when I was 14 or 16, I started doing resistance training, and I absolutely loved it. And I've always grown up with martial arts, which has given me mental, physical, and social well being. But I was told when I was about 20 years old, at that time, which I was working in finance and private equity, where I was lifting very, very heavy weights and getting in the office at 7 and leaving at 7, that my lifestyle wasn't conducive to supporting my life with my heart, and that the pressures of the heavy weightlifting was detrimental and was becoming fatal. And I wasn't happy in my job or the lifestyle I was living in the corporate world, because I felt like I was really craving the physical, mental, and social well-being that I was getting from martial arts. So I completely changed my life. I doubled down on Muay Thai training and just become very embedded within the community. And after working in the corporate world for a while, I decided to take some time to introspect to see what is important to me and what impact I want to have. And the martial arts has given me so much. And I saw that there was a real need in the UK to improve people's mental and physical health in the corporate world, but also build genuine connections. And whether it's in Thailand, in Cambridge, in London, the sense of unity and camaraderie I saw in combat sport gyms was absolutely phenomenal. And I thought if we could bring that same unity and connectedness of Muay Thai, which is a playful and fun orientated combat sport, to the workplace, then it would just be a great way for colleagues to live healthier lives, but feel like they have a sense of belonging in the workplace. Um, so really, to answer your question, it begins at that moment at 21 years old where I thought, okay, I need to change something up and live a life aligned with who I am that best serves me and how I can best serve others, really.
I just want to say, first of all, I mean, there's a lot we're going to talk about from that, but I just want to say the fact that you got that phone call an hour before this is I mean, it's amazing, and I love how things like that happen in the world. But the fact that to get that kind of news must make you feel, I mean, must make you feel amazing, right?
Absolutely. Health is true wealth.
Mhm.
And I love speaking about this with you before and other people who uh, it's just having our health is just the most important thing. And my brother recently injured himself in training, and his mindset has just been absolutely phenomenal. He's so positive and resilient in it all, and seeing him being injured and having had similar things in the past, it just puts everything into perspective. And especially that call I got today just makes me appreciate health is the most important thing. And life is truly a blessing every day. And I'm so grateful that I can really live that by doing something in my life that is purposeful to me and where I see a positive impact in a way that really helped me in my life and continues to do so. Um, but yes, I'm so happy to see well-being in all aspects of it being at the forefront of public discourse and in the corporate world.
Yeah, no, 100%, definitely. It's so important, and a lot more people are getting involved in it in so many different ways. So what you're doing is, obviously we're going to get into that as well with the Muay Thai. It's really fascinating and it is really interesting. But before we do, I want to go back to then the very, very beginning. And you said, obviously what you were born with, and kind of what happened from then onwards.
So the technology of today blows my mind. So before I was born, they found out I had something called transposition of the great arteries. So my aortic and pulmonary valves were the wrong way around. So they did a operation when I was a few weeks old to do corrective surgery, and that meant that I could live in a more healthy way. So I have annual checkups, MRI, ECG, echo, fitness tests, just to see how I'm progressing. And thankfully, there hadn't been complications up until a point. And then when I was doing this heavy weightlifting, because of the pressure it caused my chest and heart, that caused an enlargement of my aorta and narrowing of the pulmonary valves. So if I would have carried on that way, it wouldn't have been good for my heart or myself. And at that time, I was working as an intern in an investment bank and getting up at 5:30 to lift as heavy weights as I could, and then going straight to the office and then going back home to lift more heavy weights. So it wasn't very conducive to my mental or physical health. Um, and since then, I've had regular checkups, but now instead of it being a year, the call I had an hour ago, they said we'd like to see you in 3 years, which is great. So it just means that the change up to my health and fitness regime is just that much better, so that I don't need to have an MRI, an echo, or an ECG as much.
Mhm.
Um, they've got delicious food in the hospital, so although it would be a shame that I won't be able to have that, but and they're very, very friendly staff, and NHS is amazing. But I'm happy that it will be 3 years before I can get that canteen food again.
Yeah. Well, you can look forward to it for 3 years' time. But obviously then when you were given that call at 21 years old and they said to you, this isn't, a great way to be living. How did that feel for you? Because I can imagine if this was your life, obviously, whether you weren't or were enjoying work, you still had your routine, you had your discipline, you had the gym, you had your weightlifting. And I know when whatever it might be, whether it's an injury or what it might be, sometimes when people have to stop, especially their gym routines, that really throws you off, not just physically, but mentally. That can really take a toll on you mentally. So when you were told that at that age, what did you go through? What did you really think and feel at that time?
Well, when I found out on the day, I struggled to process it. Um, and having had open heart surgery and having what I have, I see myself as completely healthy. So it's hard to attach that to me. So I didn't really process it when I had that conversation. I just sort of carried on as if nothing had happened. But the one thing that I was really missing in my workout routine prior to having that conversation was fun and enjoyment. So although I was disciplined and motivated to work out, I wasn't having as much fun as I thought I could. And that's what steered me towards martial arts and kept me on that path. I've always grown up with Bruce Lee films and training, but really embedding myself in the community after having that conversation, it was just such an authentic expression of myself. I was doing my master's at the time while working, and I never felt more at peace, more joy. I'd leave the gym at cloud nine, just feeling amazing and wanting to hug and shake the hands of everyone after I left the gym and passed on the street. And it felt like I could be at myself more so than in any other environment. And that's when I appreciated that I wasn't really living the life aligned with who I am, and going down the career path of the corporate world wasn't aligned with myself. So it was having that fun, which got me into a new routine happily and gave me a gateway into exploring more of who I am and allowing myself to live the life that is a true reflection of my values.
The phrase when you said that you felt that you weren't living, authentically who you were probably meant to be, that one I resonate with a lot. And I think it's really interesting, isn't it? How I sometimes wish that, not sometimes, I wish that some people or most people or pretty much everyone doesn't have to go through some life-changing event or some life-changing moment or something dark and heavy and distressing and everything like that, to have that moment, that light bulb where it's like, am I just kind of going through the motions of life? It's just like everyone else, like a robot? Or am I actually living as the person I'm clearly meant to be on this planet? And a lot of the time is why I say I wish people didn't have to go through, the things that they do to make them have those moments, is because, what I do with this show and what I do with, having people like you on as well is there's a lot of people I think out there in the world. I might be wrong, and anyone listening, you might think I'm wrong. Anybody listening might think I'm wrong as well. But I do think there's, because I was there. There's a lot of people out there in the world that aren't living authentically who they're meant to be. They are just going through the motions of life, and that's fine because a lot of people can be very happy and get on with that. But I know that if people found their dreams or they really strive towards their dreams and they didn't have to go through these, like I said, these traumatic, life changing moments, and they just woke up one day and actually were like, you know what, I'm in a good place and I'm happy, but there's always been this dream I think I want to do instead. Or, I just wish that sometimes, again, not sometimes, sorry, I just wish that a lot more people could just do that. And the fact that it's funny, because I say it's funny because it is the fact that, we go through, and a lot of people on the show that I speak to, we go through these traumatic, these life-changing moments. They are more so or not the moments when someone sits back and goes, okay, how am I gonna suddenly be the best person for me I can be? How can I live the life of my dreams? How can I, and whatever it is that they want to do. And I mean, that's exactly kind of what you've been doing now, isn't it?
Totally, and I'm so grateful and thankful for that. And I'm also as grateful for having what I have with my heart, and I'm so thankful that I lived a lifestyle that wasn't aligned with who I am or my true purpose, because I wouldn't have realized what I needed to do if it wasn't for that. And also, I'm so happy because the work that my brother and I do together is to help those people who were in my situation, who struggled with connecting and feeling mentally and physically uh, fulfilled within the workplace. So I'm very grateful that I experienced that, and the contrast is huge. And I suppose, like you said, it's in those moments that we realize that, hold on, let's take some time to think, what do we actually want to do in this life, because of its fragility and how precious it is. And I'm way more grateful now than I ever have been every day. And days like today, having that call from my cardiologist or speaking with you about this journey makes me appreciate it. And I feel very lucky and very, very grateful.
No,
Uh,
yeah, that's no, that's really, really nice to hear. And gratitude is so important. It's so important that you just encapsulated the phrase. If you've heard this, you encapsulated the phrase. It's not happening to me; it's happening for me, and that's life. That is life. A lot of people fall victim to, why is this happening to me?
mm,
You can almost just reframe the narrative, and it's not to you, it's for you. It's happening for you. And like you said, if you hadn't have been living this other lifestyle, that you were before, you wouldn't have been able to see see what you were meant to be doing, and where you're meant to be going. And that's what I was saying, it's for you and it's not to you. And I know that's a really, 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 really difficult thing to understand. Believe me, I know there are still days when I'm like, why is this happening to me? Why? But if you reframe the narrative, and it's happening for me, it's happening for you, whether you see that today, whether you see that next week, whether you see it in a week, a month, whether you see that in a year or 5 years time. I can't tell you how long it's going to take. Believe me, I sometimes want to know myself. You just you have to know it's happening for you, and you have to just almost believe that. And then, with all of that in mind, and you were saying, what your mum and your dad, as their professions, what they were doing, or still are, you then moved into it all, didn't you? And you've taken both of those dispositions and made your own spin on it. Share with me what you're doing and how.
Absolutely, and just I completely agree with everything that you said. And everyone is unique, and everyone has something very special to themselves to give to themselves and to others. So I wish that everybody would be in the position to live a lifestyle aligned with them, so they can be happy and enjoy what they're doing and give what's special to them to everyone else. And yes, I love my parents so much, and they are my biggest inspiration. And neither of them will retire because they love what they do. And yeah, it's great. My mum's a psychotherapist and an eco psychotherapist, and she also does work with refugees to help them integrate when they come to the UK. And my dad's a traditional martial artist, so the complete opposite, really. They're amazing. They weren't right for each other, but they were and still are amazing parents to my brother and I. And I always say jokingly, I rebelled against their alternative lifestyles and became as conventional as I could. Wanted to get a job working in 9 to 5, and I loved it. I'm so grateful for the opportunities I had in the companies I had. I'm very grateful to have worked in small, medium, and large companies with fantastic people doing amazing things. It just so happened that it wasn't aligned with who I am. And my parents really instilled in me from a young age the importance of doing what you enjoy and what you love doing, and something where you feel like it's aligned with who you are. And that never really sunk in until really I had that conversation with my heart specialist. And really, from a young age, understanding the importance of being self-aware, emotional regulation, understanding how I feel, and being able to communicate that with some objectivity has been really, really helpful in my life. And with my dad, it was the physical expression and communication through the martial arts, which was really helpful in decompressing and emotional regulation. And also the community. I'd always grow up seeing my dad teach classes, and the buzz, the laughter, the camaraderie, the jokes, the fun. So very blessed to have parents who love what they do and who serve in ways that help people's mental, physical, and social well-being. And these were things that I just happened to lack while I was living a lifestyle that wasn't aligned with me in a variety of different jobs. And the whole process took about 2 years during the lockdown. I knew in my gut that this wasn't for me, but a series of events unfolded together, which ended up in me quitting my job
Mm.
and booking a one-way ticket to Thailand, the birthplace of Muay Thai. I found Muay Thai 10 years ago, and I went into a Muay Thai gym down the road from my dad's house and had my first one-to-one. And I felt incredible. I just remember doing a move and just feeling the biggest sense of joy. And just, I still remember the smile I had on my face with my coach. And since then, I've been on this journey in Muay Thai. Went to Thailand after quitting my job, and just felt like if there's a way to bring this to London, if there's a way to bring this sense of community, playfulness, and fun in the workplace, that will help so much with psychological safety, helping people feel relaxed, enabling people to authentically express themselves within a professional context. for that to then transfer over to give people a real sense of I can be myself in the workplace. Um, so I feel honored and privileged to have a fun life and be able to. It has its ups and downs, but I wouldn't want to be doing anything else. To be able to learn from my parents and apply what they've taught me, and still do to bring that into the professional realm, it's great fun. And doing it with my brother, I wouldn't want to be doing it with anyone else. And we have so much fun delivering workshops for companies, and to see teammates laugh, express themselves, feeling powered, do things they didn't think they were capable of. And we make it as inclusive as possible so that a managing director and an intern can really empathize, communicate, and have a great laugh with each other. So it's just a fun way to break down barriers.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is, isn't it? It's breaking down barriers, whether it's physical or mental barriers, because what sport does, um, and I know this myself, but what sport does is it obviously physically, helps you in whatever way, but mentally, and whether that's a single sport or a team sport, whether you're in the gym or you're training on your own or with people, or it's doubles tennis match or singles tennis match, whatever sport it might be, sport really is so important. And I know, again, I know not everybody might be able to be active all the time, or be active in general, and not everybody is able to be as sporty. But I think that if you can, in any way, shape, or form, it is so important, like not just for your physical being and your body, but mentally. And it really does, it takes on a different level and a different, I don't even know it, there is, I know there's science behind it, but I know how it makes people feel and what it really does to you in your mind and your brain. And the classic phrase when someone's tired or they're in a bad mood and someone goes, oh well, why don't you go to the gym? And it's like, oh, I don't really want to. And they're like, but it's probably going to make you feel better. I mean, how many times have you heard that? I've heard it so many. People say it to me as well. Yeah, they're probably going to make you feel better. And it just does. It just does. So, not all the time, but quite a lot of the time it does. So, if anybody does want to contact you or anyone wants to look into the workshops, where can they find you?
Absolutely. So I mean, it's so true. And it seems like it's the complete opposite. But if you're feeling drained and a
Mhm.
bit tired, doing exercise is the best way to feel energized and just to feel like you've had 2 or 3 gulps of coffee. We're most active on LinkedIn. So Muay Thai Wellness on LinkedIn, or myself or my brother, Jed or Zach Brecher. And we're always active on the platform and would love to speak with as many people as possible and share the beauty of an amazing art, an amazing sport. It helps in so many ways, and we just love to bring all the benefits of the sport mentally, physically, and socially to the workplace. And we'd love to speak with anyone who's interested and just encourage anyone to give it a go.
Amazing. That's perfect. I'm going to make sure all the links are everywhere for you. So, don't worry about that. And then I just want to ask you as well. Obviously, you seem like you're in a really great headspace, with regards to everything that's happened and happening with your heart. But was there a time maybe before where you are now, maybe when you were growing up, where it wasn't so positive? You weren't in such a great headspace.
It was really the time around having that conversation, and it took me a while to enact and formulate this new routine that I'm doing now with more calisthenics, more cardio, more Muay Thai. So it was just that uncertainty, and that lack of processing. But it happened to work out well because that stage, although it was uncertain, it was filled with a lot of experimentation. So I was trying different health protocols, experimenting with different nutrition, trying different gymnastics, parkour, kickboxing, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Um, so I was filled with a lot of uncertainty around my heart. And even 2 days ago, for the past 2 days, while I was waiting this call that I had 2 hours ago, I was thinking because there was a possibility for another open heart surgery. But thankfully, they told me that that's not on the books anytime soon. So although there is uncertainty there, all I have the power to do is control things on my side, living a healthy life mentally, physically, and socially. So I'm just keeping that up every day and remaining grateful because that's all I can do. And I think that's the only way to go.
That is the absolute pinnacle of life, what you just said. There's a lot of things in our life which are uncertain. A lot of things, and everyone's lives are very different. I think you said this before, everyone's unique. And so everyone's going through very different things. And a lot of things in our life are so uncertain. We cannot control everything. And I know so many people want to try to control everything. And when you understand that you actually can't control everything, and the more you try to control things, the more it just chaotic it can actually get. When you understand that there is a balance where there are some things, 100%, there are some things that you can control, 100%. And those things that you can control them, basically.
Mm,
Try in every way possible to control them, how you can, because they are what you can impact. Those are the things that you can, make happen. Those are the things that you can do which are good for you. But some things are so far out of your control. So if you are controlling, or you're going after, or you're working hard to everything you possibly can, to what you can do for that bigger picture, for those things you can't control. I've spoken to somebody recently which was, you know, training and whatever it might be. If you're training for a sport, this is an example. If you're training for a sport and you don't really put that much in, and then you get to the race and you stand there and you don't win it. Well, did you train hard enough, or did you not? Can you look back and be like, I should have trained more? At the end of the day, whoever wins the race is kind of in your control, but also not. If you can get to whatever it might be, but you can be able to look back and go, I don't have regrets. I did whatever I could. I did whatever I said I could, or I ate whatever I ate, or I trained however I trained, or, you know, I sent as many emails as I could send out. I'm talking about anything in life, not just, physical stuff. I'm talking about anything, dreams, jobs, whatever it might be. The things that you can control, if that's sending out 100 different pitch emails to someone that day for a job that you really want, that's what you can control. You can't control the outcome. You can't control who's going to respond. You can't control, who's going to say yes, but you have sent out 100 at
mm,
least. So, you've put yourself out there, so you can sit back and be like, right, now these are things I can't control. This is the thing I can't do. And I have to just accept what will be, will be. And that's what I was trying to say is it's actually what you just said is literally the pinnacle of life, is control what you can control, and also learn. And it's really hard to learn that you can't control everything. I know it's really hard. Believe me, there's so many situations that myself slash people I know, situations you try to control everything and it just still doesn't go the way you want. Control what you can control, and also learn to accept that some things you just can't control. And those are things that, however they go, whatever path life takes you, there are some things you can't control, and you have to learn to accept that. And I think that's exactly what you kind of said in a nutshell.
absolutely. And I the thought I'm left with now is, before, living a lifestyle not really aligned with myself, I was focusing on the destination, but it's actually the learning, the trials and the tribulations, which is where the enjoyment is, and just enjoying the journey as a whole. And that's why I love martial arts as a vehicle for personal development and professional development. But exactly, joy in the process is what it's all about here.
You have to enjoy the journey. Life is an entire journey. I know everyone's got their visions, their dreams, their goals, but it's about, I'm sure you hear a lot of people say, oh, well, I'm never going to be happy until I'm never going to be happy until I'm never going to be happy till this happens. Okay, fair enough. Those might be huge, amazing dreams and goals of yours, but you can be happy along the way because you have to enjoy the journey. And it's the journey and those little steps every day, that one step you take every day, that one day after the next day after the next day, finding those small moments in those days. It can even be your favorite cup of coffee in the morning. Finding those small moments in those days is enjoying the journey. And when that big dream or vision or goal, whatever it might be, eventually, please God, happens for you, you can look back and be like, you know what, I really enjoyed all those little things that led me there along the way.
Absolutely. And that, coupled with health
Mm.
being wealth and the fragility of life, I think is just a great way. I wake up feeling grateful to be alive. I think I wouldn't have changed my anatomy or my physiology to have it any other way. So I'm grateful for my heart now, and the fact that I had open heart surgery, and just to your point, enjoying the journey, being grateful for who we are, the life we live, and the opportunity to have fun and do some good.
Yeah, it's having fun. It's you have to have fun. You have to have fun in life. You just do. And
With
if there's
our workshops, we played the Bee Gees and ABBA in the background, so it's a very nice, chillful fun. My dancing is not nearly as good as my Muay Thai, but it's good fun.
everyone loves a bit of ABBA. I can honestly say anyone that says they don't love ABBA is lying.
Yes. Yeah.
Honestly, everyone loves ABBA. Um, and then just before we do wrap up, I want to ask you one last question, which is what advice would you give to somebody that's where you were when you were 21 and you get a phone call, an email, an opportunity, and anything that is so drastically life changing that you have to change your life and you have to not start, well, kind of start again. You have to find a new path or a new journey or a, whatever it might be. What would you say to somebody? Because when you have that call or when, like I said, when you have that email or whatever it might be, that moment where I know you're not processing it right away. Believe me, I know that you don't process it. Some people can take a really long time to process it. But what would you say to someone that's ready to go, right? I need advice. What would you say?
Well, I think the theme of um, my life and this conversation and where I think of where I am now is I'd suggest to that person to take some time away, not just to think about who they are, but where they feel like they can have the most play and the most sense of fun, and where that is, and where that sense of play brings out their true best self, and see if they can find a way to do that more while they're processing what's going on, and b to see if that fits around a lifestyle or a job or a career that they might want to pursue.
Mhm.
I couldn't recommend anything more than doing something you love with people you love spending time with and seeing it have a positive impact in people's lives. And I think, like you said before, everyone has got their unique gift to share with the world. And I think that people owe it to themselves to embrace that and explore that. So I'd say find where you feel you're most joyful and playful and do more of that.
I really like that. I really like it. It's literally just have fun. Have fun where you can. Even in the dark moments, just find something, even if it's one thing in that day, find something that makes you smile or that just, yeah, that makes you smile, you as a person, not anyone else. If it makes you happy, it doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. I love that one.
100%.
Amazing. Is there anything else that you want to share today?
No, but thank you so much for having me on. It's a privilege to talk about my journey, and thank you for having me. And I hope this conversation might help someone who might need to hear it or might benefit from it.
Of course. What's my absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
I know we all take life a little too seriously sometimes, or more than sometimes. But a key takeaway from today's story is to have more fun. Things can change any day, at any moment, at any age. So, the good and the bad, we never get those moments back. It's not about where you're going, it's about enjoying the ride and having a lot more fun while you can. I mean, who's stopping you? Finding the things that make you smile in any given present moment. That's what's worth it. So until next time, remember, you have the power inside you. We all do. You have the power to get back up.